Welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, Nigerian army steps up war against insurgents, publishes photographs of 100 suspected terrorists. Nigerian Senate ends screening for ministerial nominees, the first confirmation of some candidates to Thursday. House of Representatives summons CBN Governor over the bank verification number. And Iran to attend multilateral talks and finding solutions to the conflict in Syria.
On Business News tonight, Federation Account Allocation Committee gives a breakdown of gross statutory revenue received for the month of September.
And on sports news tonight, defending champions, the Golden Eaglets of Nigeria ready for a must-win clash against the Joeys of Australia in the round of 16 at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup.
We begin tonight in Borno State, northeast Nigeria, where the Nigerian army has made public the photographs of 100 suspected insurgents declared wanted by troops of the Operation Lafia Dole. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, displayed the suspects' pictures in Maiduguri at the closing ceremony of a 3-day engagement organized for Army public relations officers from across the country. The Army Chief says troops on the front lines are doing all they can to end the war on terrorism and encourage Nigerians to join in the effort.
May I formally launch these posters containing the Boko Haram terrorist pictures. As mentioned, the public is urged to provide full identities of these individuals. They will help us in the prosecution of this anti-Boko Haram operation. So may I, on behalf of officers and men of the Nigerian Army, formally launch this thing and present it to the public across the country.
We should be looking at the war efforts. All right, we've overflogged it, we've said it times without number that the deadline is achievable. So what Nigerians should do is to come out and support us fully. That's all. It's the responsibility of every Nigerian to make sure that this war effort is achieved and the Boko Haram terrorists are defeated.
To the lawmakers now, the screening of ministerial nominees has finally come to an end as the Senate grilled the remaining 5 nominees in the second batch sent by President Muhammadu Buhari. The nominees who appeared before the Red Chamber today are Anthony Anwuka, Okechukwu Enelama, Adamu, Muhammad Musa Bello, and Aisha Abubakar. The nominees had different questions thrown at them, ranging from finance to education to national development.
October 2005.
For 3 weeks, the National Assembly captured the attention of Nigerians as it began the screening and confirmation of Nigerians handpicked by the President for ministerial appointments. The confirmation hearing has come to an end as the remaining 5 nominees were screened. Lawmakers asked the nominees questions on the economy, education, and security.
There is no question that foreign exchange management is one of the monetary policies that a country has available to it to use. Like all such things, you have to weigh what I call the different factors at work in foreign exchange management. On the one hand, for those that want to see a currency that is weaker, what they are saying is that, like, if you weaken your currency, then it is easier for you to create export, an export environment. However, you have to create all the enabling environment to export. If, for instance, we're exporting only crude oil right now, and we haven't done enough to create an environment for industry and for other things you can export, you may find that, like, your foreign exchange policy may run ahead of some of the other policies. I'm a great believer that, like, all these things have to work in consonance, in synergy.
I took a cursory look at the manifesto of the APC government, and 2 serious things struck me in that manifesto. The one is the school feeding program, school meal program. And the second one is to involve parents and community in primary school education. And that is where our emphasis on language and culture should take place. I know and I'm aware that there is some effort being made at the primary school level to teach Nigerian languages. I recall that Fafunwa emphasized teaching a mother tongue. We toyed around with it in this country, saw some of its gains and difficulties, and we seem to have abandoned it.
The Fulanis and cattle rustling and maybe the fight between them and the farmers is nothing more than issue of resource control. The criminality has nothing to do with the Fulani. It's the criminality that has come into our society and is available in all ethnic groups.
The ministerial nominee from Sokoto State, however, enjoys the privilege of not facing an extensive question and answer session.
Because we are a gender-sensitive chamber, and the mood is that there are only 6 women amongst the 36 nominees, I wish to ask this distinguished Senate and Senator Gobir, who brought all the petitions and has withdrawn them, to kindly ask the Senate to allow her to take them back. Thank you very much.
Federal lawmakers from Sokoto State also asked that the petition against the ministerial nominee from the state, Aisha Abubakar, be withdrawn. The Senate is expected to confirm the remaining ministerial nominees on Thursday, 29th October. Linda Akibi, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the Senate has kicked against the amount proposed for the construction of a second runway for the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. In a motion by the Senate spokesperson, Dinomelaye, describing the sum of 63.5 billion naira for the project as too high and unrealistic, Senate President Bukola Saraki acknowledged the importance of the second runway, but added that it should only be executed at a reasonable price.
Enugu Airport was reconstructed and expanded, Mr. President, at 13 billion naira. That the proposed cost of constructing just a runway at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja, at this astronomical amount, is about 4 times the cost of constructing a brand new airport in Nigeria. Further worried that the new Terminal 5 at the Heathrow Airport in London, with 4 lanes of 4-kilometer runway, costs less than 25 billion naira, and constructing a 3.81 lane runway for 63.5 billion will be a waste of funds considering Nigeria's present economic situation.
Well, I think the point we're making is that we cannot continue for any way of reckless expenditure. And really, the responsibility is ours, because the oversight function is ours. And I think that we all have a role to play to ensure that all agencies and MDAs know that those days are over, and any contract must be done prudently, and this kind of figures will not be accepted.
The House of Representatives has summoned the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, to appear before its members over some possible breaches as regards the operation of the bank verification number. The governor of the Apex Bank will also be expected to explain why bank customers should be made to disclose their bank verification numbers to third parties, especially while transacting business with Bureau de Change operators, as contained in the new guidelines. A motion on the matter was raised by Honorable Abubakar Nuhu as a matter of urgent public importance. The motion was adopted unanimously and referred to the House Committee on Banking and Currency for further legislative action.
To date, 2,765 BDCs have been approved by CBN. Also note that all customers desiring foreign exchange through any channel will be forced to give their BBN to those with whom they are doing transactions. Further note that the CBN shall from November 1st this year finalize foreign exchange dealers that do not provide the BVN of every customer that do business with them. Concerned that the attempt to use BVN to stem money laundering will lead to the proliferation of BVNs of Nigerians. Finally, further concerned that this will make the vital financial records of all Nigerians easily accessible to dubious people. Finally, concerned that in this era of internet fraud, this will endanger our people's hard-earned money and cause even more problems than it was meant to solve.
In part two, after the break, President Muhammadu Buhari meets with the Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, ahead of the India-Africa Summit coming up tomorrow. We'll be joined on the news at 10 by a former ambassador to India, Ambassador Ndubisi Amaku. Please stay with us.